Who was my inspiration? Well, Detroit was a big Motown scene. I mean, even as I was growing up in the 80s and the 90s, it was always apparent, it was always around us. You know, my dad grew up in that era and played music in that era, so that was always a part of my influence. Like I always had, it was always the vocals, you know, it was those soul singers. You know, the Temptations, the Supremes, the Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder. I mean, that stuff had a huge influence on me. It was the first time I had realized, like, you can't fake a goosebump. No one. So we've been playing for about a year together, but it feels like we've been playing music together our entire lives. We started actually playing music because, first off, we believed in the music that we were playing, and we were friends. We get along. We have, you know, a lot of similarities. A lot of differences too, but that's part of the reason why you get along so well with people. I mean, if I was sitting there with like my identical twin, I don't know if I would get along with them so well. I know for a fact I wouldn't get along with them so well.
Yeah, tell about your story.
Oh man, Rick, no. Oh my God. Jesse always talks about this, and Ben too, they talk about this time, like our Beatles moment.
But I've seen them pull on his pants legs, girls pull on his pant legs while we're playing, screaming like as if it was the Beatles.
It was a pretty packed crowd and they were just like grabbing at my pants. It was the weirdest thing it was crazy in a sense that I was like kind of weirded out. It was kind of embarrassing. It's like not something you really like, you always see happen and you're like, oh my God, that must be really crazy, and it kind of is.
I've seen girls do splits on the stage, mainly older women.
I've seen people pass out from being completely hammered. I've seen people cry, like you show all these different emotions. I had a lady in Santa Fe come up and just lay one on me, like mid-playing, just like pretty, not just like a hey, how's it going? It was a little fresh, but you know, that was a good one for sure. I've definitely, those are ones you don't forget. Those are nights you don't forget. You know, sometimes we end up being the ones that are entertained as opposed to the ones entertaining. You know, we get to see just as much interaction from our end. So a lot of times we kind of talk about that and things that had caught our eye or caught our attention while we're out there. But I would say most of the time when I'm coming back from somewhere, I'm thinking about just kind of how fortunate I am to be doing what I do. You know, after a show, you put a lot of emotion into it, and you get a lot of emotion out of people. And that's to me where the connection is. That's where we meet halfway. You don't have to know somebody to connect with them. You don't even have to talk to somebody to connect. And sometimes when I'm coming home, those are the types of things that I tend to think about.
You have a hard time catching the breaks when you can't stop making mistakes.
Yeah, I am. I am a professional musician. You know, it's like saying define jazz, or define, you know, what cold is. You know, I would define professionalism as what you put into it, why you're in it, and what you get out of it. You know, being a professional musician does not mean you play a lot. And being a professional musician, it has to do with the attitude you bring, what you do for the culture of music, how you leave your footprint in music, and with the people you try to reach out to and connect with. You know, it's about what you put into it. You know, I've had moments where there's been empty venues or not a lot of folks around, but those end up being some of the most fun times too, when you can try new things and branch out and kind of be a little more creative in a setting other than a practice space. The fact of the matter is, you know, in the present day, I'm lucky enough to do what I'm doing now. I've already had moments that I will never forget, playing in incredible places everywhere from great venues to great settings and backdrops, and have incredible experiences and have made great connections with fans and folks in other areas and other musicians. But yeah, I mean, there's always, you always want something more. I guess the day you stop wanting something more is the day you should stop doing what you're doing. So yeah, I always want something more. It's always going to be nice to shoot for something that you don't have. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
Freedom.